The bronze point of the spear shivers against the wind, a sliver of cold light in the choking dust of the Scaean gate. Achilles, the best of the Greeks, stands amidst the swirling grit of Troy, but he does not look at the walls he has besieged for 10 long years. At his feet lies the queen of the Amazons, her helm split, her golden hair spilling into the red mud. For a heartbeat, the roar of the war fades. He has won. But as the light flickers in the dying eyes of Penthesilea, a terrible clarity cuts through him. Has he finally found the one enemy he cannot kill without destroying himself? The war had become a grey, rhythmic cycle of tides and blood. Hector was dead, dragged through the dust, and the Greeks believed the end was near. But Troy was a beast that refused to die, drawing strength from the far reaches of the earth. From the wild, wind-swept plains of the north came the Amazons, daughters of Ares, led by a queen whose grief was as sharp as her axe. Penthesilea did not come for gold. She came for the release of a warrior's death, seeking to outrun the shadow of her own tragic past. From the burning horizon of the east came another storm, Memnon, the king of the dawn. He led an army of Ethiopians whose shields shone like polished obsidian, moving with the heat of the rising sun. Achilles sat in his camp, his hands stained with the salt of the sea and the iron of his labor. He was no longer a golden youth. His eyes were the color of a winter sea, reflecting a soul that had seen too much of the underworld while still drawing breath. He felt the weight of the prophecy, that his life would be short and his glory eternal. He watched the campfires of the newcomers and knew that fate was tightening its grip. He did not fear these new champions. He feared the monotony of the slaughter. His strategy was born of a decade of carnage. He would strike at the heart. He would meet these divine challengers in the open field to see if their blood ran any differently than his own. There was a spark of pride battling a growing weariness. He wanted the war to end, yet he knew that the moment the last hero fell, his own life would strike its final hour. Before dawn, Achilles began the ritual of the arming. He strapped on the greaves that shone like silver and the cuirass forged by Hephaestus, a garment of celestial bronze as immovable as a mountain. He picked up the great spear of Pelian ash, a weapon so heavy no other Greek could lift it. He ran a thumb along the edge, tracing a long, jagged scar on his forearm. He looked at his reflection in the shield, a distorted face that seemed more god than man. "Let the earth drink what it requires," he whispered to the empty air. As he crested the rise toward the battlefield, the threshold was crossed. The Amazonian war cry, a high, piercing scream, tore through the morning mist. Penthesilea appeared on a white stallion, her armor embossed with the icons of the moon, her gaze fixed upon the man slaughtering Achilles. She did not hesitate or boast. She rode toward him with the inevitable grace of a falling star. Achilles planted his feet in the Trojan dirt, his shield raised, his heart beating a slow, heavy rhythm. He had chosen this path. He had committed to the kill. The first contact is a scream of metal. Penthesilea strikes with a double-headed axe, the blow so powerful it bites into the celestial bronze of Achilles' shield, sending white-hot pain up his arm. She moves like a gale, exploiting his heavy stance. She circles, her horse a blur of motion, her strikes aimed at the gaps in his harness, the throat, the inner thigh, the joints of the soul. She does not fear him. In her eyes, he sees a craving for the end that matches his own. The king of the Greeks staggers, the taste of copper filling his mouth. He lunges. She pivots. The spear of ash whistles through the space where her heart had been. Action. Consequence. Action. The battlefield becomes a narrow corridor. Achilles feels his plan to dominate unraveling. He is forced to adapt, moving with a fluid, desperate lethalness. His rage cools into a crystalline resolve. He begins to time her breathing, the rhythm of her horse's hooves, and the slight tremor in her grip. He is no longer fighting a queen. He is fighting a mirror of his own divine exhaustion. Two forces of nature colliding in the dust. The moment comes in a heartbeat of absolute stillness. Penthesilea prepares a final overhead strike, her body arched like a bow. Achilles sees the opening, a hand's breadth of exposed flesh beneath the arm. He thrusts. The Pelian ash spear finds its home, driven by the full weight of his god-descended strength. It pierces her breastplate, through the heart, and out the back. She freezes, the axe slipping from her fingers to clang against the stones. Achilles catches her as she falls, his hands gripping the edges of her bronze helm to see his foe. As the helmet falls away, the face revealed is not that of a monster, but one of haunting, celestial beauty, a face that mirrors his own loneliness and divine burden. In that single look, Achilles is undone. He sees the life he might have had, the peace he traded for the cold immortality of the spear. He falls in love with her. In the exact moment, her eyes go dark. He has spent his life perfecting destruction, only to realize the most beautiful things in the world are those he is destined to destroy. The victory is a hollow husk. The resolution is short-lived. As he kneels over the fallen Amazon, the horizon glows with an unnatural light. Memnon, the king of the dawn, approaches. He is the son of Eos, the goddess of the morning, and his armor is a thing of terrifying radiance. He is the true equal to Achilles, a demigod of the east to match the west. Achilles stands, his hands still stained with Penthesilea's blood. The gaze of the queen has stripped away his illusions, leaving only the grim duty of the slaughter. He meets Memnon in a clash that shakes Troy. Two sons of goddesses fight, while their mothers watch from the clouds, weeping. Achilles kills Memnon, piercing the dawn-burnt armor, but there is no triumph, only the heavy thud of another body hitting the earth. The aftermath is a landscape of silence. The Greek army stands back, watching their champion with awe and terror. They see a man covered in the blood of kings, standing amidst the ruins of his own soul. The smoke from the distant funeral pyres begins to coil into the darkening sky, and the crows descend to reclaim the field. His body is a map of cuts, but the inner cost is the true wound. He has killed the most beautiful woman he ever saw and the most noble man he ever fought. The burden of his deeds presses down, a weight that even his divine strength cannot lift. He has cleared the field of every rival, but the price is a hollow heart. He knows now that his glory is built on a foundation of mirrors he has shattered, leaving him with nothing but a fragmented reflection of a life he never truly lived. The lesson of the dust is bitter. What carried him through was not the strength of his arms, but a grim acceptance of fate. He chose to be the instrument of the gods, and in doing so, he forfeited the right to be human. He realized too late that the enemy was never a stranger. The enemy was a part of himself, a potential for grace he was forced to extinguish. The pattern of violence he helped create still lingers, a dark tide that will soon rise to claim him as well. History remembers Achilles for his invincible strength and his terrible rage. But in the trial of the gaze, he learned that the greatest tragedy of the warrior is to finally see the humanity of the foe only after the spear has done its work. The shadows grow long, and the final chapter of the son of Thetis draws near. Soon, an arrow will find the one place the water of the Styx could not reach. Walk with us through the old stories. Subscribe to Saga Weaver, where ancient warriors face impossible choices.